Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I think this is the first Friday that we recorded without having a little sip of whiskey first.
It is. Oh, God, it is. That's what's missing.
So, since you asked me to watch Hoarders, yes, the show that was on TLC, Hoarders with the
It
hoarding.
was on A&E.
Oh, sorry, Annie. And this show's your baby. So I was being a good girl, and I was watching Hoarders this morning before I came over. Right, my 15-year-old son walks into the room, and he says, "What is this?" And I said, "I'm watching Hoarders." And he said, "Why?" I said, "Work." He said, I like how you get to watch reality television sometimes as part of your job." I'm like, some of us are lucky.
Yeah, definitely.
Hi, I'm Candace,
And I'm Elle.
and this is Weirdly Human.
Welcome back, weirdos, to another episode of Weirdly Human, where we talk about all those weird things that make us human. I'm Elle, and this is Candace, my weirdo compadre over here. And this week we are talking about hoarding.
Yeah, we are.
I was so excited to do this episode. Just like you were excited to do the cults episode, this subject was in my top 5.
And I jumped on it. I know people. I have personal experience with it.
I think we all have personal experience with this. I was amazed to find out how common this problem is. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But
I thought I knew a lot about it. Like, okay, I'm good.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
to talk about hoarding.
Right.
And then you had me watch Hoarders, and I thought, wow, there's so much I don't know.
Oh, God.
So many questions.
So I remember when the show started, which was, I want to say back in 2009. I'm almost certain that
You do
it
remember
came.
that? Okay.
I remember watching it when my oldest daughter was relatively young. It was just so revolting and the anxiety producing to watch these episodes.
Definitely anxious watching them this time. But
Yeah.
used to, if it was on, it was like, whatever. These people have too much stuff and kind of go on with my day. What do you call it when you like to be a spectator for horrible things?
That's something we should look up.
Yeah. Podcast listeners. That's why true crime is so popular, right?
Right.
Just raised our SEO by saying true crime, by the way.
This genre of stuff, it is wildly popular because we want to see how other people live.
The train wreck.
The train wreck. We cannot look away from the train wreck. And clearly we couldn't. I mean, that was a wildly popular show in the, mid to late 2000s. The show did 11 seasons, 120 episodes.
I thought I was going to be doing other things while hoarding was on in the background yesterday and today.
No.
And I couldn't.
No.
I couldn't. I would get sucked in. And also there's some, not narration, but they're like words in the middle that wasn't
reading.
They weren't.
Assignments.
Yes, they weren't narrated. And I had to look up to read those. And then pretty soon I was riveted.
I am also repulsed and riveted all at the same time. And I'm watching these episodes again, not that I ever watched all of them back in the day, but watching them now in preparation of this episode. And I just could not stop myself thinking, how can someone live like this?
Well, like you said, they are anxiety inducing. And that's another reason I probably would have turned it off before, because I watch TV for entertainment, not to become anxious.
Right.
It was riveting. And yeah, that's the point of this episode. How does it get to this point? Because I feel like a lot of us have problems with clutter, the self-help section. It's Marie Kondo this and change your life that. Throw something away and change your life. So what separates the clutter bugs, the pack rats from
hoarders?
From hoarders. In this day and age, we have so much stuff. Even if you don't leave the house and go get anything, stuff still somehow magically accumulates. Like, I saw a funny tweet the other day where someone said, when I get new underwear, I stop wearing the old underwear, but I don't get rid of them. I push them to the back of the drawer. I'm wearing the new underwear. And she said, yeah, just like you. And I was like, that is what we do. We hold on to the old ones for a little while in case there's an underwear emergency. And
well, the old underwear isn't bad.
right.
We were wearing it yesterday.
Exactly. I'm wearing it while I'm putting the new underwear in the drawer. This is fine underwear. So we don't get rid of it. Goodwill doesn't want my underwear.
No, Goodwill does not want your underwear.
So we hang on to it in the event that the washing machine breaks and suddenly I'm out of new underwear and I've got to wear the old underwear, right? But I am not clinically a hoarder.
No.
Even though we all do that, right?
Yes,
that's why the tweet was funny, was
That's
because
right.
it was so
It was
relatable.
so relatable,
So how do you
yes.
become a hoarder?
Okay, so it's a diagnosable problem. It's a neurobiological disorder. I thought I knew some things when we embarked on this journey, and I didn't. I didn't know as much as I thought that I did.
Ooh, this should have been on You're Wrong About.
I know. It probably was. Compulsive hoarding is a neurobiological disorder, which means it is part mental illness and is part genetic. People who tend to hoard or end up becoming a hoarder, they have a genetic predisposition to this. And they usually have a relatively close family member who will also do these behaviors. But then they also have this mental illness that's akin to obsessive compulsive personality disorder. What goes on is that they have this obsessive need to acquire things, to keep things, even if those things are worthless or hazardous or unsanitary.
There's an anxiety that they're feeling.
There can be.
And holding on to the thing relieves the anxiety, and getting rid of it causes a lot of anxiety.
Yes. And it seems to be the amount of things that these people cling to that becomes diagnosable too. So
It's to what degree?
To what degree, exactly.
Is it interfering with your life?
Oh,
no.
yes. Yeah.
If it doesn't interfere with your life, and I'm not saying I couldn't throw a dinner party because my,
Right.
house was a mess, but
No.
if it doesn't interfere with your day-to-day life.
Hoarders, they can't do the activities of daily living. Like they can't cook in their kitchen. They can't maybe bathe in their bathroom. They can't do their laundry.
Their grandkids can't come over.
Right, exactly. And they couldn't probably get out of their home safely
if there were a
fire.
It is actually
Yes.
a fire hazard for sure.
Absolutely.
This is one of those, I want to give our audience one of those tidbits that they listen to the show for. If you disagree, you can just cut it out. But here in the United States, we squirrel things away. In the Netherlands, they hamster things away. So, fun fact.
OMG, I love it. That's fabulous.
Which makes sense. The hamsters have those pouches.
They do.
They shove the stuff
in.
I love it. They hamster things away. And in fact, one of their popular grocery stores, their mascot is the hamster. You go in there and hamster things away when...
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. So one of the things that came up when we were talking about this is what's the difference between a collector and a hoarder? And I think it was your son who we were talking about this in our planning session.
Yeah, he got worried. Hey, you can collect things.
Right. He's like, well, aren't they just collecting things? And the difference is very, very distinct. I mean, collectors can collect anything from coins to stamps to action figures.
And those things actually do have value.
Or to them. Or they don't have to have value to anybody else necessarily, but they have value to the collector.
Okay. I was just thinking stamp collecting. Some of those are actually worth
money. And oftentimes the collected thing is worth money to a subset of the population. Maybe
to other collectors.
To other collectors, exactly. But collectors are very proud of the things that they're collecting, and they will often organize and display and show off these things, and they have a lot of satisfaction about their stuff.
It's true. You never see museums that are just, piles of shit when you walk in.
No.
They have organized and cleaned and displayed it.
Right.
And this feels different.
Whereas hoarders just collect random stuff like junk mail and magazines or plastic containers, more sturdy than disposable plastic cups that you get.
Like the commemorative
something.
Yeah.
Or trash or food trash. It's kind of crazy. They will store these things very haphazardly, often just piled up in their homes.
But to us, to most people, they have no value. But from watching Hoarders, they saw the potential value in everything. Even expired food. Well, I could feed that to animals. Well,
no.
The guy with the box of nylon straps, and he's like, well, I want to keep those. And at some point, a nylon strap could be useful. It's just not useful to the point that you would store it for 30 years. It's more useful to have that space today. And if you ever find yourself needing a nylon strap, go buy one. And this does come from a place of privilege. We're not hunter-gatherers. I can go to a store and buy a nylon strap.
Well, this makes me think of what you were telling me earlier today about rent. So tell me that again.
Okay. So everything in my house has to pay rent. And when I'm deciding whether or not to get rid of something, I ask myself, is this thing paying rent? And, my sofa, does it pay rent? It takes up a lot of space, but it does pay rent. It's not only beautiful, it's comfortable, and we sit on it, it's sad to say, every day.
It
to
is
watch,
beautiful
to watch
and it is
TV.
comfortable because I have sat on it.
Yeah, so
there we go.
that guy's paying rent.
Yep.
A box of nylon straps. Okay, it's a small thing. Maybe it only pays $2 a month for rent in my house. I ascribe some kind of numerical value, but the fact that he has kept it for 10 years or 30 years, maybe in this case,
Yep.
it's a nylon strap cost. It's only a couple of bucks. It's
Right.
not paying enough rent to take up the space. I think a lot of us get excessive cosmetics. One day we open the cabinet and it's like, I haven't used that lotion in a year. But it smells good. And I remember
Right.
when I got it, happy feeling associated with it. Okay, but is it paying rent? Do I use it? No.
Okay, I need you to come down to my bathroom because I have an excessive amount of hair products. Because I'm always looking for the new hair thing. God, I've got several different lines of hair things that now I don't want. I don't like that one anymore.
Right. You decided that this wasn't the hair thing.
This wasn't the hair thing, but I spent some money on it and I don't want to get rid of it.
You spent some money on it.
Oh.
So that, my friends, is the sunk cost fallacy. Because you spent money on it, you don't want to get rid of it. But you spent the money whether you get rid of it or not. So is it now paying you rent?
No.
Your $20 is gone, regardless of whether or not you keep this product. And you're not using this product. You're never going to use this product.
I might. If I run out of the good stuff.
And that's just it. The hoarders can see the potential in everything.
Sure.
They see the potential in the stacks of newspapers. Oh my gosh. If you ever needed that article from 1979,
you're never going to be able to find it. No.
I have a family member by marriage, 2 of them actually, who are clinically hoarders.
Oof.
Every time he needs something, like a drill bit, he will go buy a new set of drill bits because he can't find the old ones. So what is the point of having these drill bits?
Well, okay, so when doing research for this episode, I was flabbergasted. I was so surprised how common this problem is. Depending on which source we want to quote, up to 6% of the population. 6%.
I know. So there are almost as many hoarders as left-handers.
Exactly. Hello. That's crazy.
And, a couple of the people that we saw when we were watching episodes, if you saw her in the grocery store or church, you would never know that anything like that was going on because she looked immaculate, nails done, well-dressed. I don't know how. She can't do laundry there.
Exactly. Well, I think one of them, they just went and bought new clothes every week.
And I know one of them said she showered somewhere else. I assume she has a membership to the Y or something. I don't know. There are only so many places.
Right. She was not specific about that. I assumed the same.
Yeah. She said, I shower somewhere else. And I'm like, okay. And again, your shower in your home is part of what you paid for when you bought the home.
Yes.
So the things in your shower, I want her to go through and say, are you paying enough rent to make me shower somewhere outside of my home? I doubt anything is paying enough rent
well,
to make her shower outside of her home.
So with her, and this is something we should probably wait and get into later in the episode, she loved those things. To her, those things were very valuable. And the rent
But more valuable than a shower?
They were more valuable than her child.
If you're going on the Oregon Trail and someone said, would you rather have hot water at your disposal anytime you needed it or 65 wine glasses? I think most people would have gone for the hot water.
Oh, absolutely. Most people would.
Well, I think that's a good point, too, is that I can see the desire to acquire things that might be useful. It is kind of a special problem that we live in today in that there is so much stuff. The prehistoric people, they would not have been able to accumulate stuff at the rate we have now.
And I don't think they would wanted to.
Well, but even if they had, if I found, like I was telling you on Castaway, remember when?
Oh God, yes.
Tom Hanks his character kept the 5 packages that washed up on this deserted island. And in one of them was an ice skate. And he looks at it and puts it down. He keeps it, of course. He only has 5 things. So he's not a hoarder, but he keeps an ice skate that I might have gotten rid of because I'm on a deserted island. And, how's he going to get rid of it? There's no dump. Anyway, long story short, he ends up using this ice skate to knock out
a tooth.
To extract a tooth.
Oh.
And I told Elle, if I were on a deserted island, I would be a hoarder because you never know when something might come in handy.
Right.
Right. So these ancient people, it would be impossible for them to collect the amount of stuff that we just have access to. There's always
Oh, for
someone
sure.
giving stuff away on Craigslist, and hoarders will go get truckloads of stuff that other people have determined is junk.
Sure.
You're doing them a service by taking it away, but they're like, oh, this is potentially valuable.
Sure.
And they keep it.
Yep.
And so it's definitely a modern problem, but maybe these 6% had these tendencies to begin with, right?
I think so,
Did they start
yes.
out as clutterbugs?
I think so. They started as clutterbugs. They started out as pack rats. Who are these people?
If you're a small business or you own a small business and you're listening to this podcast right now, you could sponsor us. Yes, this could be your space. Before we go any further, I think it's time for another segment of
Sponsors we wish we had.
And obviously, today it's going to be 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Obviously, because that's the product placement that we kept seeing in Hoarders.
The Hoarders episodes, yes.
But since they are not our sponsor yet, I can mention that, hey, you just got some stuff you want to donate. Look up Disabled American Veterans. There are often some places that will actually come to your house and pick it up. You just put your bags of stuff up front.
These are donatables, people. So, your extra clothing, stuff that is decent, not anything that's stained, not anything
Right. If you
that's
were on
ripped.
an episode of Hoarders, they don't want
you, no. But your extra stuff, your furniture that you might want to donate that's decent, clothing, toys, kitchen goods, those sort of things. Yes.
But apparently, if you are a hoarder, 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We'll come and get your stuff.
We'll come and get your stuff.
For a large fee.
For a large fee, yes.
For that amount,
so
I'm
you
sure.
might be better off trying to get on a reality show so that maybe you're a hoarder and also independently wealthy.
I think that was so interesting too when we were digging around in this. Many industrialized countries have services for people who hoard. So this is not just an American problem. I noticed
this is a problem of modern living.
This is a problem of modern living, absolutely, in an industrialized country because we have access and means
to so much stuff. The real life hoarders that I actually know are very austere. Is that the word?
Oh.
They don't shop. They're very frugal. And yet they have so much stuff. You can pick up free stuff online. She'll go to her church and take any open 2-liter bottles and bring them home because they're still good. Newspapers, junk mail.
You can access these sort of things without having to spend any money.
One of them has a business coffee at McDonald's. Anyway, he will always bring home a small stack of napkins, and he has stacks and stacks of McDonald's napkins.
Wow.
I know. And what are you going to do with those? Well, I might need them. Tomorrow when you go, they'll give you more.
Right. Maybe don't get the
And if you don't,
stack.
I was going to say, if you don't want them, just don't take them.
Leave them.
Leave
for
them
the next
there.
person.
Yes.
So it's a mental illness and a personality trait.
So just telling him to leave them there is not
necessarily
going to work.
No. So when we were talking about this, I think it's interesting and important to kind of delineate what's the profile of a hoarder.
Yeah.
All right.
What's the profile?
So it's typically more often a man than a woman. And that was very surprising to me. If I look at the statistics, then hoarders are more likely to be men. And when I think about my husband and his behavior,
that makes
sense.
Understand.
Yes.
Well,
definitely.
And then you could go, did they just learn fewer, housekeeping, organizational skills? We don't really know yet.
We don't really know. There's too many factors that go into that. But if I think about the profile of a hoarder, it's also more likely to be someone over the age of 50 as opposed to under the age of 30, which made me a little uncomfortable when I think about that.
But there's a reason for that.
There is a reason
for that.
Absolutely.
The longer you live, the more time you have to get stuff too.
The more time you have to collect some stuff, for sure. Many hoarders live by themselves. And I wonder if that's a factor of being a hoarder or because they've run away. If my husband was a true hoarder, I would not be here.
From the little bit of research I've done, it's both. Some of them, their husband left them or their wife left them or they died or something. And then they became hoarders. Yeah, we'll get that.
I got to get that.
But then some of them are alone for that reason. They were pack rat hoarders and that person left them. But yeah, it is much more common for them to be alone. There are some hoarder
Oh,
couples.
for sure. Absolutely.
Or there's more likely there's one hoarder and one enabler.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's definitely more likely. It is a mental illness and a personality trait all wrapped into one. When you have someone who has that personality trait, who is the stereotypical pack rat, who, isn't very organized and has a messy house, sometimes when there is a traumatic triggering event,
The event, yeah.
that's what tips the scale over to becoming a clinical hoarder. We're talking about a death in the family or a divorce or the loss of a job. Then they start using the acquisition and the collecting, I want to say collecting, but the keeping of stuff, the hoarding behavior is a self-medicating behavior. They're trying to
Relieve
anxiety. They're trying to ease their own anxiety by holding on to things.
Which is ironic because clutter makes me so anxious.
Oh my God, clutter makes me so anxious. I really thought that I could have it on kind of in the background and do some other things and just remind myself of how bad it can be. I couldn't do it. I was transfixed on the episode. And
for sure. It's a train wreck and we like to watch, and that's weirdly human.
That is weirdly human for sure. Oh my gosh. And I felt so much anxiety and I could feel it coming up, 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 up.
And then you went and cleaned out the fridge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. Oh,
same. I just opened my closet and I'm like, yep, nope, this has got to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I cleaned out the fridge. I cleaned out my bathroom. I cleaned out the girls' closets. 17 bags of things.
And not because we think we're hoarders, but because it makes us so anxious. And I'm a stress cleaner.
Yeah. Which is a good thing. If you're going to
it's a productive way to procrastinate, right?
Yes.
Like I'm not regular procrastinating. I'm productively procrastinating.
If you're going to have a self-medicating behavior, cleaning is a good one.
Yeah, there are worse ones for
Definitely.
sure.
So when I was thinking about how do we help hoarders, and when I was looking at what is the treatment for hoarders, they're not good. Cognitive behavioral therapy is the number one, but they've got to be ready. The hoarder themselves has to be ready to accept this. They've got to want to change, which holy moly, that gets tough.
They very rarely seek help.
They
for
don't.
Starters.
The family oftentimes is the one that has to, do an intervention.
An ultimatum probably.
Coming in and saying, okay, this has to change. And then with cognitive behavioral therapy, you've really got to be willing to put the work in. Lots of hoarders don't see their behavior as a problem, so then they are not motivated to want to change it.
Or at least it's a shame that they live with privately.
Yes.
They'll still go out in public, but no one is ever allowed over to their house. And they don't want help with this problem.
And when I think about it, I can name 100 people right now. No problem. Up to 6 of those people are clinical hoarders. Oh, my goodness.
And another 93 of them have too much stuff.
And another 93 of them have too much stuff, myself being one.
Sure. Yeah. I like I said, I'm a stress cleaner and clutter makes me nervous. Yet I have my things. We both joke that we hoard jars and cosmetics.
Hair products. I definitely hoard hair products.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I disagree with me there. Okay, fine.
Oh, no, it's fine. I'm not enabling you. Come on. You do. Throw some of that stuff away. No, and just to clarify, we are not hoarders. And there's a 94% chance that you're not a hoarder. just like we say, oh, she's very tidy, she has OCD. No, that's a clinical term. Stop saying you're a hoarder. Stop saying you have OCD.
So one of the things I thought was interesting in the cognitive behavioral therapy that is actually effective for hoarders and other stuff too, is that motivational interviewing technique, which was developed to help people with addiction. And you can kind of see the parallels there with addiction and hoarding.
Motivational interviewing?
Yes, motivational interviewing.
So what does that mean?
So this is where the therapist asks lots and lots of open-ended questions and has more of a dialogue with the client. And they try to get the client to, I don't want to say admit, but to say what about their hoarding behavior is problematic, to recognize and to speak out loud what about their hoarding behavior is problematic. And then to help them turn it around to say, well, how could this be different?
Or things maybe like, would you say you love your grandchildren? Would you say you would love to have your grandchildren over? And sort of get them to stumble over the fact that this behavior is not compatible with the values I just said that I hold. It causes a cognitive dissonance.
It does.
Wait, if I say I want my grandkids over,
but my house looks like this.
Yes, you literally can't get into my house. No one's been allowed in 25 years. So which of these things is true? So that's the motivational interviewing. But the biggest problem with hoarders is they don't seek help. And in fact, most of the ones on the show that I saw were there because they were in trouble with the city.
Right. Or their family held an intervention.
At the end of the day, though, they say they want to spend more time with their children. They want to spend more time with their grandchildren, but it is almost too hard. And so I guess I won't. And that's sad.
Right.
It's so sad.
And I think the rates of relapse are very high.
Oh, they're very high.
With hoarders for sure.
I know. I wanted to end on a happier note. Like, okay, if you suspect hoarding, here's what you do.
Let's end on a happy note. I like that. So we were listening to our wonderful My Favorite Murder ladies, and they were talking about the cleanfluencers on Instagram. So I had to go look that up. They made me very happy to look at that.
That's a job I wish I had, honestly. So I'm going to show you. And sometimes I think about it when I'm cleaning my sink. Like, I want to show somebody how to clean a sink. But then I don't really have the motivation to do that. Sure. Sort of like I write reviews in my head all the time, but I never actually write reviews. Just like you.
Yeah. Yeah. So my favorite one, just scrolling through the top 10 really quick, was Abby's Cleaning Space. And I like Abby's Cleaning Space because she promotes mental health and well-being as well as giving us cleaning tips.
I love that.
Me too. So I'm looking through all of her cute little photographs and the cleaning products that she's promoting. I find this one, this is just a meme. And it says, "The longer I stay home, the more homeless I look." Nice. I'm feeling that for sure.
Yeah. So we're wearing like flannels and sweats today.
Right, and I've got no makeup on. This is awesome.
Because it's not a visual medium.
It's not exactly. We are at a podcast. This
and
is
you know what? You ruined it for everyone. They were picturing us being very well dressed and put together, and we had our makeup on. And I don't want to ruin that image for them. Okay, we look very nice. We smell even better. I definitely did not have a very garlicky salsa before I started
that's
this.
Why you're way over there.
That and COVID, right?
That and COVID, yes. All right, weirdos. I think this is it. We've come to the end of another amazing episode. Thank you for hanging in there with us.
It was decent.
Yeah, it was decent.
If you enjoy this podcast, please like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. That's what keeps us on the air.
What keeps us on the air. That's what helps other listeners to find us. But yes, if you would click that beautiful little subscribe button, we really appreciate it.
We appreciate you so much. We'll even give you a shout out. Bring it to our attention. We'll shout you out.
All right. Thanks again, guys. Stay curious. Bye.
Bye. Hey.
We're finally going to talk about hoarders.
I know. So you watched me to ask.